Hi, I'm your Hillsborough County Commissioner Kevin Beckner, and I want to welcome you to our first edition of It's Your County, a show dedicated to keeping you connected and informed on what's going on inside local government. We're going to have more about that in a moment, but first, I am so excited to be joined with my co-host. Many of you may know him from his column on the Irreverent View. During the election time, he appears on Bay News 9, and of course, you'll have also read his columns in the Tampa Tribune. I'd like to introduce you to Politico extraordinary Chris Ingram. Chris, thanks for joining me on the show.
Great to be here, Kevin.
Chris, I have to say that since we've launched the promotions of the show, I've received some really interesting feedback. And some people were kind of interested in knowing how I got you involved in the show, considering that, especially politically, we come from different parties. And my response to them and why I'm so excited to have you here is because we both share a common value, and that's the dedication and commitment and knowing the role that local government plays in our community. Again, I'm really excited to have you here. And is there anything in particular that you would like our viewing audience to know about you?
Well, like you said, I think we share good government. We want to see good government, government that works for the people, and that government isn't taking advantage of the people, and that we don't have politicians that are doing things that are just for special interests. They need to be for the public's interest. And you and I share that. And I think that's what naturally kind of gravitated us toward each other, and why I'm here today joining you on the program. Looking forward to it.
Well, I think that's one thing people may not necessarily always think about and realize, that you don't have to share the same label or the same party affiliation to have an appreciation and to be committed to making sure you have good representation in our community.
Absolutely, and we can agree to disagree on certain things, and the things that we can agree on, like Ronald Reagan used to say about Tip O'Neill, we agree with each other 70% of the time. He's my friend. A third of the time we disagree, but that doesn't make us enemies.
Well, and that's what makes a great democracy.
Absolutely. Here. So Kevin, tell us, why did you decide to do this show? I mean, what do you hope to achieve and accomplish, and what do you want to enlighten the viewers about?
Well, one of the things, Chris, when I first got elected into office, that I realized, as I mentioned before, the importance of local government. And a lot of times people don't necessarily pay attention to what's going on locally, although it's your local government that can have the biggest impact on an individual's life. Of course, in the media, many times you'll hear about what's happening in Washington or even at the state level, but the local government doesn't always get the attention. So I wanted to come up with a way that we could keep people informed and also connect them with their local government. And so when I first got elected, we started out of office hours, where we continued that till today, where we go out once a month in the different districts and get people's input, feedback, and also answer their questions that they might have. And of course, with the new upcoming technology and with social media, we wanted to find a new way to connect. So we came up with this concept called It's Your County, that first and foremost, we're going to start off with a brief recap of what we have covered on the County Commission, understanding that we cover a lot, and so we're just going to be hitting some of the major highlights, followed by an educational piece that will help people understand how government works. We'll be having a variety of different department heads, people involved, county workers, that will come into the program to talk about what they do, and so that will also be part of it. And then most importantly, we want to give people another way to show for them to be able to ask questions, and again, it could range from a variety of different topics, and so people have an opportunity to send in emails or send in a video of themselves asking and posing questions to us.
And we've got some great video from questions from constituents, and also we've got Mike Merrill, who's going to be here later on in the show, be in our hot seat, asking him all the tough questions, right? Yeah,
he is, and Mike is our county administrator, as most know, and so we'll have a lively conversation. It'll be great to hear, because he actually, other than the county commissioners, he runs pretty much the organization here at the county level. So we'll have him on first.
Very good. So what are some of the issues that residents and citizens of Hillsborough County ought to be concerned with, or things that the Board of County Commissioners is working on their behalf right now?
Chris, our BOCC headline news and reviews so far in 2014 include these top 4 headlines. Number 4, Hillsborough County youth are honored during the 5th Annual Youth Excellence and Achievement Awards, also known as the YAY Awards. The YAY Awards recognize youth in the categories of success despite difficult odds, leadership, and volunteer or community service. The winners demonstrate the drive, determination, and values and commitment to our community that are critical for our next generation of leaders. The 2014 Yay Award recipients are as follows. In the middle school, in the category of Success Despite Difficult Odds, the recipient is Lee Dittman. Although diagnosed with brittle bone syndrome and wheelchair-bound, Lee takes honors classes and has a straight A average at Buchanan Middle School and its Bioengineering Academy. She also gives to others through hosting fundraisers for Shriners Hospital and has raised $575,000 over 10 years. In the category of Leadership, the award goes to Julia Woolley. Julia holds a 3.5 grade point average and is a starting athlete on Buchanan Middle School's track, basketball, soccer, and volleyball teams. She annually recruits teams for the Walk to End Alzheimer's and placed first in her school science fair with her project about human memory. In the category of volunteer or community service, Sam Estes. Sam gives back to his community through helping special education students with schoolwork and visiting nursing homes where he sings to residents. Sam also paid his way to make a mission trip to Miami to feed the homeless and serve the elderly. Sam has done all of this while maintaining very good grades in the International Baccalaureate program at Williams Middle Magnet School. In the high school division, Damon Reagans receives the award for Success Despite Difficult Odds. Damon attends Simmons Career Center and has had challenges with his education and not enough credits to graduate. Just before Damon was to take his GED exam, after many attempts, he learned that his father was missing in a boating accident. Without knowing if his father was alive, he summoned his courage and took the test. 2 days later, Damon received the wonderful news that he had passed his GED and the very sad news that his father had not survived the accident. Damon will enlist in the National Guard after graduation. In the leadership category, the award goes to Irvin Harris. Irvin maintains a grade point average of 4.0 and is a leader in junior ROTC and part of a new show team. He was selected to participate in a forum with the U.S. Secretary of Education to discuss failing schools. Irvin hopes to attend either Harvard University or the University of Florida in the fall. The Volunteer or Community Service Award goes to Derek Frantz. As a Jesuit high school student, Derek has logged 1,214 hours of community service over the past 4 years. As an Eagle Scout project, he helped construct a park. Derek gives his heart to children with special needs through volunteering with Tennis for Fun. Through all of his hours of service, Derek has maintained a grade point average of 3.78. We'd like to congratulate all of the 2014 Yay Award winners. To learn more about the Yay Awards, go to www.hillsboroughcounty.org/yay. Number 3, Hillsborough helps former felons be ready for work. An agreement with A. Brown Ministries was approved to launch the Ready for Work program, a nationally recognized data-driven prison reentry program that assists non-violent inmates in transitioning back into the community and workforce, effectively leading them toward a productive life. Based on the model created by Operation New Hope in Jacksonville, Ready for Work motivates and moves individuals to become productive citizens through individualized case management, life training, and job placement assistance. Clients are partnered with a case manager and complete a 4 to 6 week career development training course before being matched with an employer. Commissioners approved $350,000 for the initial startup costs, and the state of Florida approved an additional $500,000. Each year, an average of 2,200 Florida inmates return home to Hillsborough County after completing their sentence. Without a job and community support system, over 33% of inmates return to prison at an average cost to taxpayers of $17,000 per year. The program is expected to begin accepting clients by September of this year. Number 2, the county seeks to close skills gap with the Manufacturing Academy. A 2013 survey of 109 manufacturing companies showed a sustained need and demand for high-skilled workers in the manufacturing industry. Since February of 2010, the U.S. manufacturing sector has added roughly 500,000 jobs. It's the fastest pace of job growth in that sector since 1995. To help individuals obtain the necessary skills for a career in manufacturing, the county has appropriated $1 million for a manufacturing academy. The program will be administered by CareerSource Tampa Bay and will partner with Hillsborough County schools and local universities. The two-year program pays the wages of students attending the academy while they work for qualifying businesses. The average annual wage for manufacturing workers in Florida is just over $53,000, which is $10,000 more than the state's overall average wage. The academy is expected to begin this fall. And the number one headline topping the list: commissioners seek to expand transportation options. As a way to expand transportation options in Hillsborough, commissioners approved $125,000 to study the feasibility of a high-speed ferry service in South County. If approved, initial commuter service is expected to run frequently during rush hours from a terminal located between Gibsonston and Apollo Beach to MacDill Air Force Base, providing a transportation option for 5,300 military families that could take thousands of cars off roadways during peak hours and save commuters up to 30 minutes of drive time. Recreational and tourism services would provide trips between South Hillsborough County and downtown Tampa and St. Petersburg. If everything moves forward, a ferry service could begin within the next 3 years. Of course, high-speed ferry service is just one of the many transportation options commissioners and community leaders are considering. The Transportation Policy Group, comprised of county and city elected officials, have been working together and engaging the public over the past year and developing a comprehensive transportation plan to address the county's and its intercities transit needs. The plan is expected to be completed this summer with public discussion and input to begin in the fall. And of course, these are just a few of the headlines. To review a complete summary of all these BOCC headlines and activities, you can visit www.commissionerbeckner.com and click on It's Your County.
Well, those are some great topics, Kevin. I want to ask you a little bit about the last one that you just talked about, transportation. What's going on really here that voters and constituents in the Hillsborough County ought to be looking at as the commission considers the things that are available and options to the community for improved transportation?
Well, in general, Chris, we really believe that transportation is one of the top infrastructure needs within inside of our county. And especially people, the commuters, when they stay log jammed, and when you look at the backlog as far as roads construction is concerned, we cannot just continuing to improve roads as an answer to our transit problems. So the last year we have been working as a policy group, which are pretty much all of our stakeholders.
Who are those folks that are on that committee?
You've got the mayor of Tampa, you've got all of the members of the county commission, they are the mayors of each of the municipalities, HART is involved, and so all of the people that that need to be at the table to make decisions around transit are there. And then we're also engaging the public as well too. And so our main goal, and we started this work as a little over a year ago, is to develop a comprehensive transit plan that is going to include everything from alternative modes of transportation, a more robust bus system. We have talked a little bit about the ferry service. That's a potential possibility. There are bike paths, road improvements. It's all about creating a comprehensive package that we can bring to the people, and where there's something in it for everybody, but it's going to help solve the long-term transit issues that we have and just not provide a Band-Aid in the short term.
You talked about buses, and Hillsborough County, as I understand it, we have about 200 some odd buses, but for a city our size, most experts suggest that we need about 400. What's the county doing to address that deficit?
Yeah, and actually when you look at the scope, Chris, county-wide, we're 1,150 square miles, we're a big county, and when you compare to other counties, we have about half of the bus fleet that we should have to serve a district of this capacity. And we have roughly about 186 buses now, and there's roughly 56 flex and transit vans that we have. It's about half of the fleet than what we need. We have a budget of just a little over $66 million, and again, we've been told that to have a really robust system, you really need to be operating more in a $90 to $100 million budget. So we are woefully underfunded budget-wise, and we are also woefully underfunded as far as our fleets go. And so if we are going to solve this issue, again, we are going to have to look at alternative sources of income to pay for the transportation as well as build the infrastructure.
All right, now I have to put you in the hot seat, Kevin. I always ask elected officials who are working on transportation, in particular public transportation like buses, when was the last time you rode on a public bus?
I was on a bus a little over 2 years ago, and I live in the Carrollwood area, and that took me roughly about 55 minutes to get from Carrollwood to down to the city of Tampa on the county center. In my car, I can get there between 25 and 30 minutes. So you can see that if it's that inefficient, people aren't going to use the system. And I really do believe, Chris, that there is, it's a cultural thing that we are going to have to change here as well. There are people that have moved here from Chicago, other big cities, that are used to using transit. That's not the case where Floridians, for the most part, have become reliant on their cars. And so we believe that a good majority of the people will embrace public transportation. They will not get rid of their cars, however, but again, it will help solve the transportation issues that we've got.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that it's got to be efficient, because obviously for the end user who's getting on and off that bus, if it takes them twice as long to ride the bus to get to work than it does to go in their personal automobile, they're never going to use the buses.
Yeah, and until we get up to speed, and again, it's not something that's going to happen overnight. As I mentioned, it's going to be a cultural shift. But I also tell people, whether you use public transit or not, it's beneficial to everybody. The more cars that we can get off the roads, it saves time. So if you're not using public transportation, it's less time you spend in your car, and you can spend with your family or your business or in other ways. And of course, you're going to save money on gas, and it's also beneficial to the environment.
Well, it's a quality of life issue for sure on a lot of different fronts.
Very much so.
Well, great topic, and I know we're going to be hearing a lot more about that. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with Hillsborough County Administrator Mike Merrill.
Every 8 seconds, a teen is infected by a sexually transmitted disease. 1 in 4 sexually active teens has an STD. Untreated STDs can result in everything from painful sores and blindness to cancer and even death. 10,000 teens are infected every day. Don't be part of that statistic. Practice safe sex. Know the symptoms of an STD and get tested. For more information, go to hillscountyhealth.org.
Welcome back to It's Your County. I'm so pleased that County Administrator Mike Merrill is taking time out of his busy schedule to join us here today. Mike, welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Mike, I wanted to ask you, Hillsborough County, obviously it's a large county. Tell us a little bit about it in terms of the budget and the size of the county, number of constituents that the county government serves.
Sure, be happy to. I think a lot of people don't really realize how big the county is. Did a little bit of research last night. Population-wise, we are larger than 9 states, and our budget is larger than 3 of the states. So our budget for this year is about $3.5 billion, larger than Delaware and Rhode Island and a couple of other notable states. But probably the thing that makes it most difficult to govern is the size. It's over 1,000 square miles, which is also very large compared to many other counties. And so what I like to say is that actually, we all know there's 3 cities in the county: Tampa, Temple Terrace, Plant City. But the largest city is really unincorporated area, because that's what Kevin and the county commissioners govern. I mean, they govern the whole county, but we provide municipal services to over 800,000 people in the unincorporated area. That's almost 3 times larger than the city of Tampa. And what makes it more difficult is the large amount of space that we have to cover with fire rescue and parks and so forth. That's what makes our job so difficult. But, one thing that folks need to know is that financially the county is very sound. Everyone knows how important credit ratings are for their own personal use. The county has the highest credit rating that you can get for a government. It's a AAA rating. And there are very, very few counties in the country that are still AAA rated. So that's really important, because it says a lot about the management, about the reserves that we have, and so on and so forth. So it's we're in good shape.
Well, and tell us a little bit about that. I mean, we have an elected board of county commissioners,
Yes.
7 commissioners, but you're the county administrator. You're kind of the day-to-day guy, and you, of course, answer to the commissioners.
Yes.
But what exactly is your role that you do on a daily basis?
Well, it goes back to us being a municipal provider. So we do all the classic things that people expect, and really It's basic stuff. So when people turn on their tap, they get clean water, that we pick up the trash on time. Law enforcement is not part of my responsibility as a sheriff, but we have to relate with them. Animal services, code enforcement, it's the whole range of things that people expect to receive for the taxes that they pay to help them grow a family, grow a business, get from one point to another, and so it's a pretty comprehensive, full menu of things that we do for folks.
And you actually came, before your role as county administrator, you were the budget director, is that right?
Debt management.
You were in the debt management, and you served how many years in the debt management department?
Oh, let's see, it was probably 22 years as the debt management director, which I was doing, my staff and I were doing the financings for water and sewer plants, stadiums, roads, that kind of thing. And then the last 4 years as county administrator.
Did you ever see yourself as county administrator when you were involved with the other rounds?
Never imagined.
You were a Jesuit priest by training, and now you find yourself in government. That's very interesting. How did you end up here?
Well, never quite made it to be a priest.
Okay, but your training was...
I went to the seminary in high school, and my graduate degree is in religious studies. But no, I was clearly not headed down a path to be county administrator. And some folks, they build their careers with that goal in mind, and that's a particular profession. But this really came out of a need that, the board was going through some tough times with the prior administrator and asked if I would step up on an interim role, and I said of course I would. We were, just into the recession. We were at the process of doing a 2-year budget. It was tough times, and so I thought it would be a 6-month gig, but it's been 4 years.
Well, in fact, that's a funny story, and you probably won't mind me sharing this. I distinctly remember the night before the meeting when we thought that we were going to be making a decision about replacing our other county administrator.
Right.
And I remember that phone call that we had the night before, because going into the meeting, I had to think, if we're going to be asking our current county administrator to step down, we better have an idea of who might replace her. Right. And I remember your name came into my mind, and I called you that night. And as you recall our conversation, I said, Mike, if tomorrow the opportunity comes and the board agrees that we need to go into a new direction, would you be willing to step in if the board requested? And I remember that distinct answer. There was a very long pause on the telephone. And you said, Commissioner, I'm a team player, and I will do what's best for the county. However, I will stress that my intentions is only to do this the short time until things got stabilized. Right. And so here we are, 4 years later.
It's a short time.
It's a short time. What did something change along the way, or were you able to hone your skills in and do things that you never thought you would be able to do, or did you because you implemented so many great ideas, and it seemed like all of a sudden there was this newfound path that you wanted to take the county on, driven towards customer service.
Right.
Had this been a long time coming, or is this something once you got in a role it kind of fell in place?
Well, 6 months wasn't enough, I found, really, to kind of get things where they needed to be, and so we were in the middle of the budget. It was still a recession. I didn't feel like I could just call you back and say, hey, 6 months is over, time to go. But I think that what it really came down to was that I had come from the private sector before I came here. I was in banking and manufacturing. And I learned, early in my career how important it is for customer services. When I was a banker, I was out doing cold calls and trying to get deals. And so for the 22 years that I was here before becoming administrator, I always felt like we could be doing a much better job. And so I had ideas. I never had a chance to really implement them. So as I got into it and saw that I could really make a difference and really help the organization do a better job of helping the people we serve, it kind of got to be more interesting than I thought. And being able to help people to see the work actually play itself out for some individual, whether it's in social services or whatever, was really rewarding. Because when I was in debt management, I was so removed from doing service that I knew people were getting served, but they were just kind of out there somewhere. But this was really being able to firsthand see things that we were working on actually make a meaningful impact in people's lives. So that's important.
Well, you're doing a great job. I haven't felt the need to write any columns about you, so keep up the good work, Mike. Hey, I wanted to ask you, what's one avoidable problem that people in the community have when dealing with county government? Be it, maybe they didn't fill out the proper forms to get a building permit to do something at their home or something of that nature, that if just with the right education and knowledge and information, people could avoid kind of a hassle when they're dealing with county government related issues.
Sure, that's a good question. It goes back to customer service. And so what we had to do was make it easier for folks to get the kind of information they needed. So we developed a new website that's more customer friendly. We stood up a brand new call center with the help of Sykes Enterprises, who are the world-renowned experts in call centers. They did that work for us pro bono. Chuck Sykes was a good, corporate partner. And then we're going to be rolling out some apps here shortly. We actually did roll out one recently. So if someone sees, something that needs to be remedied, debris on the road or something, they can actually go to the app, take a picture, send it to us. We can respond more quickly.
Is that available on the iPhone and the Android, or
it's available on the Android? Apple is doing the final testing for the iPhone. That may be ready at this point.
What's the name of the app? What would they search for?
That's a good question that I don't know the answer to.
Okay. Well, maybe we can find that and put it up on the screen at the end of the show.
Yeah, we can. One major initiative was for our builders and developers or individuals is to be able to do permitting and plan design online with new software called Acela, so that really, unless it's a really unique, difficult case of permitting and so forth, you can literally do it from their home with their computer and submit documents. So it's really making it easier for people to engage with us, and I know that it's sometimes difficult and a burden for people to drive downtown, find parking. So we're trying to focus on bringing more service to people where they live, and so that'll be our next initiative.
Very good.
Well, I know that since I've been on the board, we disagree on some things, and that's the way it's supposed to be. But I have to commend you for your leadership because you took over at a very difficult and challenging time. We were going through, obviously, a period of austerity, funding-wise, and times are still tighter, but they're getting a little bit better.
Yeah.
But I think it was your focus on a true mission and really redefining the mission of government, because I don't know that we ever had totally had done that. And having it customer and constituent driven, I think that's what government is supposed to be able to do, and to deliver services directly to the constituents in an efficient manner. And I think one of the things, of course, we have developed is a strategic plan, and that has also, I think, helped us stay focused as a board, and helping us define what truly is the role of government, and that helps us then also do budget allocation.
Well, it helped us tremendously to have the board, take ownership of a strategic plan that we could implement. And not just because I'm a guest on your show, but I will also say that this board. I'll look at Chris and say this. This board is truly the best board I think that we've had in the 25 years I've been here, because clearly they represent different interests and points of view, but they all agree on the most important thing, which is what's best for the community: jobs, economic development, public safety, and that's what's made it really easy for me to work with the board, and that's part of it too. I wouldn't continue doing this if I didn't, feel like we were working well together for citizens, and so that's really important, and I appreciate that, and the staff does too. This board has gone out of its way to recognize good employee work, good employee customer service, which other boards, years and years ago never did. And that's really important for employees to know. And it's important for our community to know
Absolutely.
that we're working together. So.
Great. Well, anything that you would like the viewers to know, or anything that you'd like to outline in the future going forward, what your administration will be focused on?
Sure. We're focused on three things. Again, customer service is at the very top. Second is innovation. We can be much more innovative. I've said there's no reason why we can't be the Apple computer of government. And the third thing is being more agile, which means just getting to be more efficient, getting service quicker, still quality service, but more quickly, because time is important, people's time is important. Those are the three things that we're focused on. And we'll continue to control the budget, make sure that people are getting value. I mean, what's more important for people is to know they're getting value. And so, just a little factoid, the cost of government, local government, is 20% lower than it was in 2007. So that's like someone getting a gallon of gas or a loaf of bread today for 20% less than they paid in 2007. And that's what's really important. For the same level of service, reduce cost of government, and that's really what we're all about. So
Efficiency, we like that.
we like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, very good. Well, thanks for being with us today, Mike.
No, thank you. It's been great.
Thanks, Mike. We really appreciate you being here, and most of all, appreciate your service to our county.
Thank you very much, Kevin.
You're welcome. All right, after this quick break, we're going to answer your questions. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
Glass, cans, paper, cartons, plastics 1 through 7. You can recycle more than you know. Go to hillsboroughcounty.org/solid waste for a complete list of items that you can toss into your blue recycling cart. Yes, you can recycle that.
Welcome back to the show. During this next segment, we're going to answer your questions. I went out and took my camera and asked some questions of constituents across the county. This is our favorite one. It comes from Ron Danner from Town and Country.
Kevin, hi. I'd like to ask you about the rainy season fertilizer ban that's been enacted by all of our surrounding jurisdictions except Hillsborough County. And you can see what's done to our waterways that used to be healthy. And I'd like to know why that you won't legislate this and help us out here.
And thank you for that question, Ron. It's interesting because the Hillsborough County Environmental Protection Commission actually did pass a rule that prohibits the application of fertilizers containing nitrogen and phosphorus to your lawn when it is raining or when 2 or more inches of rain is predicted within 36 hours. Over in 2011, the City of Tampa did pass an ordinance that prohibits both the application and sale of nitrogen or phosphorus products between June 1 and September 30th. Actually, it's the Tampa ordinance does do a better job in addressing the issue of harmful nutrients that is caused by runoffs in our lakes, rivers, and bays. Unfortunately, even though the EPC staff had recommended it, the Commission could not come to a consensus to include sales bans and applications bans like Tampa did. And so, Ron, I absolutely agree with you. I think we should have done more. And if it would have been my sole vote alone, I certainly would have taken and gone the step further. Homeowners should still become familiar with application rates, fertilizer types, and all the rules associated with the best practices of fertilizer use. To get all that information, you can visit our website at www.epchc.org. We'll give you all the complete details and the appropriate uses and how to use fertilizer.
Quick follow-up, do you anticipate that this might be brought up again before the commission in the coming year?
Well, unfortunately, because of the state legislature, they had passed a part of a statute that prohibits local jurisdictions from passing anything else that's more stringent than the state rules. So unless that changes, we're not going to be able to revisit it.
Despite what you might want to do and what Mr. Danner wants to see, it's probably not going to happen.
Not anytime soon.
All right. Our next question is from George Ann in Tampa. She writes, can you explain the senior property tax exemptions available in Hillsborough County, and are they automatic or do you need to sign up for them?
Well, thank you, George Ann, for that great question. And here to answer it is Marilyn Martinez, the manager of exemptions with the Hillsborough County Property Appraiser's Office. Marilyn?
Hi, Commissioner Beckner. Chris. Thank you, George Ann, for that great question. The senior exemption is an additional homestead exemption for persons over 65 years of age with a limited household income. There is an application process that the applicant must go through, as it is not automatically granted to that person. Every year, the application must be renewed by providing the prior year's income, just to make sure that we still qualify. For more information, you can visit our website at www.hcpafl.org.
Well, thanks for that thorough answer to that question, Marilyn. If you have questions or comments for our show, send an email to Commissioner Beckner at becknerk@hillsboroughcounty.org. That's becknerk@hillsboroughcounty.org.
Well, thanks, Chris. Well, that's going to do it for our first edition. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in. I hope you'll join us for our next show. And remember to get involved and stay connected, because it's your county. You can and do make a difference. Until next time, be well.